You've seen our game-by-game predictions for every single Pac-12 team, and now it is time to take a look at our projected Pac-12 standings for the 2019 season. And we will start over here in the North Division, where we have a bit of an upset with Washington winning the North over the heavy favorite in Oregon. Now, both of these teams are tied with a 10-2 overall record and a 7-2 record in Pac-12 conference play. But in our game-by-game predictions, we have the Huskies beating Oregon at home. The Huskies get to host the Ducks in 2019, and that is why they own the tiebreaker here, and that is what is giving them the edge in the North Division. I do believe that Oregon has the most talent in the Pac-12 this season, but Washington has a more favorable schedule than the Ducks, and the fact that they get to host Oregon gives them, to me, the slight edge in that head-to-head matchup. I think the Ducks have a better offense than the Huskies, but in the end, it's that home field advantage and the fact that it's a Chris Petersen-led team that's going to give Washington the edge over Oregon head-to-head, which will then give them the tiebreaker over Oregon in the North Division. So it's going to be Washington or Oregon coming out of the North, and right now we are picking the Huskies to beat them and make another appearance in the Pac-12 title game. Right below Oregon is Stanford, also 7-2 in Pac-12 conference play, but 8-4 overall. We have them losing 2 non-conference games. They also have a very tough schedule in the 2019 season, but 8-4, a potential chance at a 9-4 season if they can win their bowl game. Nothing to frown about if you're a Cardinal fan, and another job well done by David Shaw. Same thing can be said for Washington State and Mike Leach, who we have at 8-4, but just 5-4 in Pac-12 conference play. They went 11-2 last season, had a phenomenal run with Gardner Minshew. They will not be able to replicate that success again in 2019. Won't be able to get 10 or 11 wins, but 8-4, a chance at a 9-win season would be another phenomenal year and a job well done by Mike Leach in Pullman. They bring in Gage Gabrud at quarterback. I don't expect the offense to take that big of a step back in production. Washington State is still a team to watch out for in the Pac-12. And then we have 2 teams in the bottom of the North, neither of which we have making the postseason. California at 5-7 and just 2-7 in the Pac-12. This was a team in California that went bowling last year but fell to TCU in the Cheez-It Bowl. This is a California team that will boast one of the best defenses in the Pac-12 and will boast one of the best secondaries in the entire nation. But it's their offense that is going to be their downfall. I do not have a lot of faith in this California offense. They were not very strong last year, and I do think they will improve a little bit in 2019, but not enough to win the close games. I don't have faith in this California team. If they have a chance at a game-winning drive to get down there and get this team in field goal position or to get a game-winning touchdown, California 5-7, but just 1 win away from making their second straight bowl appearance under Justin Wilcox. Defense will be the strength. Offense has to step it up. And then Oregon State, 1-11, 0-9 in conference play. They are a team that I do, as I've said, if you've watched our videos, you've heard me say, they will improve statistically. The Beavers will improve across the board statistically. But you might not see that improvement in the win column because, once again, it is an extremely, extremely difficult schedule for the Beavers. I like Jake Luton at quarterback. I like his crew of wide receivers that is not getting enough attention. And I like Jamar Jefferson at running back. This Jonathan Smith-led team, as I said, will improve and give some teams some fights. And if they can win those home games, that I think they could really challenge a lot of these teams in the North at home, they could very well be a 3 or 4 win, maybe 5. Some people are calling for a bowl game in 2019. I'm not going to go that far, but they have the potential. It is there, but can they get the job done? Right now, I'm not calling for it. 1-11, a step back from a 2-10 season in 2018. Over in the South Division, no surprise to see that we have Utah winning that division. They are by far the favorite in the South. People are calling for their first Pac-12 championship, the chance to win their first Pac-12 championship, and maybe even being a dark horse candidate for the college football playoff. We have them at 10-2, 7-2 overall in the Pac-12. If Tyler Huntley can stay healthy, if Zach Moss can stay healthy, and the defense continues to live up to expectations, much like they have in recent years under Kyle Whittingham, Utah is a shoo-in to win the South. But right behind them is Arizona State, who we have at 6-3 in conference play and 8-4 overall. 6-3 in conference play is just 1 game back of Utah in the South. So the Sun Devils are definitely going to be a threat to Utah in the South Division. I love that hire of Herm Edwards last year. A lot of people didn't like that. I still rave about that hire. He did phenomenal things in year 1, going 7-5. I have him improving this year in year 2, especially being led by Eno Benjamin on the ground. And if their quarterback play steps up, who I think will be led by Jaden Daniels, the true freshman, Arizona State will certainly be a threat in the Pac-12 this season. Right behind them is USC, 1 game back as well, going from 7, 6, 5, 4, and then 3 in our standings for the consecutive teams in the South. But USC 5-4 in the Pac-12, 7-5 overall. Clay Helton on the hot seat in 2019. Will 7-5 be good enough to save his job and keep him around in 2020? In my opinion, it will not be. I could easily see Clay Helton being out of a job before the 2019 season even comes to an end. But 7-5, an improvement from last year. USC suffering their first ever losing season, 5-7 since 2000. 7-5 would be a 2-game improvement, and they would be going to the postseason. I expect JT Daniels to take major strides in year 2 as quarterback for the Trojans, especially under Graham Harrell's new offense. Great crew of wide receivers. The defense will step up. 7-5, a chance at an 8-win season for the Trojans, but probably not good enough to keep Clay Helton as head coach there. And then we have an odd case here. UCLA 5-7 overall, ahead of Arizona, a team that we have at 6-6 and going to the postseason. But UCLA having a 4-5 record in conference, while Arizona has a 3-6 record in conference. So they will own the edge in the standings over the Wildcats. UCLA, though, 3-9 last year, all 3 wins coming against Pac-12 opponents. Will make another step forward in year 2 under Chip Kelly, but will miss out on the postseason once again. I do expect improvement across the board, no doubt in my mind. And they're once again, kind of like California, 1 win away from getting to the postseason. But can UCLA do it? They have one of the most difficult schedules in the entire country, and I don't think they're going to be able to do that. But I do expect them to improve, win some more Pac-12 games, 4 Pac-12 wins compared to 3 last year. We'll give a bunch of these teams a fight, just not good enough to make the postseason. Arizona, though, 1 less Pac-12 win than UCLA, but good enough to make the postseason because of their non-conference schedule. I do love Khalil Tate. I do love J.J. Taylor. I love that dynamic duo there. And I expect the defense to step it up. 8 returning starters, allowed over 30 points per game last year. Those numbers will get better. And I think Kevin Sumlin makes a bigger stride in year 2 and gets the Wildcats to the postseason, where they should have been last year had they not blown a 40-21 lead in the 4th quarter against their rival, Arizona State. And then our last team in the South, Colorado, we have sitting at 3-9, 1-8 overall in year 1 of the Mel Tucker era. I love their offense. You've heard me rave about Colorado's offense. I think they'll put up solid numbers. But the defense, which is ironic because Mel Tucker is a defensive-minded coach, I think will struggle in 2019. Colorado does a good job in the non-conference outside of Nebraska, but will struggle in Pac-12 play, especially drawing some of the top teams from the North. They go 3-9 in year 1 under Mel Tucker, but they will get there under him. I know he is the right man for the job, no doubt in my mind. Which means, if you've listened to our standings, if you've looked at our standings, we will have a rematch in the Pac-12 championship game. Washington versus Utah. These 2 teams met last year, and Washington won in a defensive battle 10-3. These 2 teams will, of course, meet in the regular season this year. We have Utah beating Washington in the regular season on the road. It's extremely difficult for any team to beat the same team twice. But Utah will be able to do it in 2019. We have Utah winning the Pac-12 championship, their first ever Pac-12 title in 2019. That would be their 11th win of the season. That could very well get them a spot in the Rose Bowl, and it would be a phenomenal year for Kyle Whittingham and the Utes. The talent is there. They are the heavy favorites in the South. People are talking about them as a major surprise team, and they will surprise. They will show up and show out. They will beat Washington. This year, it will not be as low scoring, but it once again will be close, and the Utes get a win over the Huskies. Revenge after losing twice to them last year. This year, the Utes beat the Huskies twice and finish off an 11-win season in their first Pac-12 title in history, in their school history. So it should be a very fun year in the Pac-12. I know Oregon is the favorite in the North for a lot of people, and they very well could jump over Washington. They can just win on the road or hope Washington screws up. Or if Oregon's lone loss is to Washington, the Ducks would be here against the Utes. But right now, we are calling for the Huskies, a rematch of the 2018 Pac-12 title game, and the Utes will capture the Pac-12 title their first ever. So guys, here are your projected standings for the Pac-12 in 2019. We want to hear from you. Leave your projected standings for us below. We've heard your game-by-game predictions. How about your standings? Let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree, and stay tuned for our next conference, which will be starting very, very soon. So guys, as always, thank you for watching us here. Go check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Gridiron Expert, and check out our official website, thegridironexpert.com. Sign up for our newsletter and sign up for our expert picks. For just $30, you will receive every single one of our 2019 college football spread picks, including the postseason. So I can promise you that is a deal that you do not want to miss out on. Join our team. Sign up for our expert picks today, only at thegridironexpert.com. And guys, as always, thank you for watching us here on YouTube. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you next time on The Gridiron Expert.